we have noticed, especially during COVID, an extreme increase in the speeding along Cavendish. So here you go.
Bonjour, nous sommes sur le boulevard Cavendish où nous avons constaté un problème de vitesse excessive et ça nous a été rapporté par les citoyens, entre autres M. Fred Lieber. And Fred has been reporting to us that over the past year, especially at night, there has been excessive speed. So we installed the radar. We're going to collect the data, and once we have the data, both going north and south, as you can see, some cars are going over 65 kilometers an hour, then we will be able to adjust the speed and ask the police, of course, to monitor it more closely.
Well, that would be a great step because I've been living here for 18 years and the last year or so, the speeds have picked up dramatically. There's people flying at night well over 100 kilometers an hour. As a matter of fact, the guy lost control in the summertime and ran into a house and took down the garage. So that would be a great idea.
Right. So we don't want that to happen again, and I'm proposing, and the city is seriously studying, adjusting the speed limit on this stretch of Cavendish.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so I think the mayor has something to say about that because we were putting up posters at the beginning of the campaign and we almost got run over by trucks and cars driving in the rain and we were clocking it on the radar screen at like 60, 65 kilometers an hour, like midday. We couldn't believe it. So maybe you have something to add?
Yeah, well, when you have a speed limit at 50, people, like Dita says, can go 60, 65, sometimes and get away without getting a ticket when they're at 60. So we're thinking about lowering the speed limit to 40. It's the widest part of Cavendish right there. It's not as much of a speedway, or it's not as easy to do it if you go further up Cavendish. And if you'll notice, if going further towards south, if you're going further south, they're doing some narrowing, and I don't know if we can narrow, but we can lower the speed limit. I met with the commander. There's a new commander of Station 9 on Monday, and one of the things that I asked him, and that was on the request of Councillor Berko, is if they could put a traffic cop there between 7:15 in the morning, I think it was 7:15 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and do some ticketing. And he said he would, so he took note of it. So hopefully they're going to do that, which would help a bit because we know a lot of speeding is going on in the morning and there's a lot of still children crossing at that intersection. I remember Freddie Lieber and I went to Merton School and I was on boarding. So I used to have to cross there and that we had a crossing guard, but it's changed a lot. Our city's changed a lot. When we went to school in Merton, there wasn't much on the other side of the underpass. And I don't even know if there was the underpass yet, but there wasn't a lot of traffic coming up. Now there's Central City, Côte Saint-Luc is the other side, and they're just speeding down. So we're gonna have to find ways to control it, either narrowing, lowering the speed limit, or getting more tickets, or a combination.
So I want to thank you for bringing up the issue of the crossing guard because I did get some requests from residents and parents of the kids who go to Merton School, who walk to school and walk home. And they asked for a crossing guard at Merton and Cavendish. And I would hope that the police will take our requests seriously and see if they can, if it's justified to add a crossing guard at that intersection, especially in the morning when the kids are walking to school, and maybe also at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Fred, would you like to add something? Because you're the one that brought this to our attention and you're always very vigilant about issues of traffic. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks a lot.
So Fred lives on Cavendish, backs onto Cavendish.
Yeah, I think lowering the speed limit would probably be a good idea, but my issue is more so like, as I'm sitting here, I'm sitting in my office here, my house, and backs onto Cavendish. And as we're sitting here, about 5 people have flown by and they're not doing 50 or 60, they're doing way above it. So even if you put a police officer there between 7 and 8, it's not going to fix the issue of guys. There's a lot of guys with high performance cars in this neighborhood nowadays, and it's not going to stop a guy. Like, my parents live on Bailey, so I look after them. So I go over there, walk over there at night, and the amount of people flying is incredible. I sit on my front gallery in the summertime, and with my friends, and we hear them revving. Like, these guys are running through the gears. They're coming back from the mall, flying up this way or going the other way. And I'm certain, I'm sure you'll find it on where you're collecting the data. I'm sure you're going to find people doing over 100 kilometers an hour with the data. So I'm just wondering if it's feasible. It'd probably pay for itself. Like, they have in on Côte-des-Neiges, where you're coming down Côte-des-Neiges, where near the Montreal General,
Right.
they have a 30-kilometer zone, and they've got a photo radar there. And that
And
never
it sends you the ticket in the mail.
I'd love
Yeah.
that. They haven't, I mean, if they'd only agree to that, of course we'd love that.
and that never goes to sleep. I mean, this would be an amazing, you could put it here, then you could switch on the other side of Cavendish. I mean, I was sitting on my gallery, as a matter of fact, it was my kitchen, sorry. And I heard a guy running through the gears, and I was going, vroom, vroom, and all of a sudden it just stopped, and we heard a boom. And all the neighbors went outside, and it was a kid was flying up Cavendish, going south, ended up in the northbound lane and hit a house. I mean,
Yeah.
he could have taken out 10 people. I mean, it was a miracle that nobody got hurt, and
Yeah,
nobody
we
got
saw
hurt.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it's only a matter of time.
So
And I
once we
think
have the
it's fine.
data, like I said, we're gonna analyze it. We're gonna look at it, and we'll make a recommendation. We'll see, who's on the next council, but
Yeah.
I think either to adjust the speed limit or really to do things that are going to reduce the speed, because since COVID, I noticed a couple of people who got off the call, but they came on and they also live on Cavendish, and they've been telling me that the speeding has been unbearable, especially
Yeah.
at night.
I definitely like the idea. I know it's not
They're
easy.
just flying.
I know it's not easy to get, but obviously the best solution is the one that Fred mentions, is having the photo radar thing. I don't know if it would require a petition or letters or what we would need to, or more data, but that obviously is the best solution, because whenever we come across those, whether it's on the boulevard or anywhere else, that you've got to get down to 30 or close to it, or you're going to get a ticket, everybody slows down.
Yeah.
So it is the
Okay,
best
so
solution.
I see Claudia's got a thumbs up. Is that because you want to talk, Claudia, or because you agree?
I agree. I have 3 children and they all go to Merton. And I walk quite frequently in the evening. And I really have to teach my kids how to be careful around the corner of Côte-Saint-Luc Road and Merton. I'm going to tell you that
Cavendish and Merton.
yeah, sorry, Cavendish and Merton. And also the lights are not configured properly. So oftentimes I'm pressing the light and it will change. I don't have 30 seconds to cross 6 lanes over. So I would suggest that somebody verify that, because the pedestrian sign is not popping up when it should when I press the light.
Okay,
I think you should check that, but I think a cross guard would be a great idea. And also, I would suggest that we do something on Fleet as well, because people go through the red lights on Fleet. So there it's not so much speeding because there's so much traffic and there's so many lights, but they just zoom through red lights. So
you're saying Fleet and Cavendish.
just after Cavendish, as if you're going north, east to Décarie on Fleet.
Well, that's Fleet and Cavendish.
Yeah. So as you continue those lights, you will see, if we ever had police, they would, the police only go there at certain times of the day, but there are a lot of people that are going through red lights over there. So again, it's very dangerous to cross those roads. So I think we need to put a bit more vigilance on the speeding and the people going through red lights.
Well, that's noted, and we'll definitely going to follow up on that. Now, there's another subject, and I see Morris is on the screen, so I'm going to recognize you in a minute, Morris. There's another subject that is very much a local traffic, local District 3 subject, and that is the Bailey traffic that that used to go down Glencrest and now has been directed first towards Cavendish and in a secondary kind of way down North Loop. And Morris lives on North Loop, and I know he has a lot to say about that. But before you do that, I want to just tell you, Morris, and I see Michaela on the screen as well. She can hear me. I did door-to-door on Glencrest, and I did a survey, and I can tell you that the people in Glencrest are thrilled. I mean, really very happy with the fact that they no longer get 12 to 1,500 cars a day. Now, we know that a lot of that traffic is now going down Cavendish. It's not going down North Loop, but as a result of that redirection, some of the traffic is going down North Loop, and we still haven't found a way to stop the through traffic, stop people from using North Loop as a shortcut. My opinion is that those people are lost. It's not the general population that's using North Loop as a shortcut. Because you go through North Loop, you'd have to do a zigzag, go down Regal, go down Robinson. It doesn't even make sense. And most people who live on this side of North Loop would use Cavendish and Merton. So Morris, I'm going to let you address this issue, and then, maybe we can try to find solutions, but obviously not on this call, but we will try to find solutions. Go ahead, Morris.
Yeah, well, I think you outlined the issue. I'm a bit disappointed because it's been around, I think, for a year and a half or 2 years. We had a meeting with the traffic department and yourself. Mm-hmm. They said they would measure the traffic on North Loop. They did that. But I haven't seen what are the solutions, what are the options. Like usually you provide options, option 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you look at the different options, then speak to people and decide what to do. Myself in the morning, I get a wake up call at 7 o'clock. The cars start going down the street. They zoom by. There's nothing to stop them. So every like 5 seconds, I get zoom, zoom, zoom. I hear the cars going. During the traffic, which is like between 7 and 9, and usually 3 to 5 or 3 to 6. When I bought the house until now, it was a quiet street. It's near a park, so it's great. But since you moved the Glencrest to North Loop, and it's not just me, my neighbors say the same thing, there's traffic and cars zooming, and they don't just go slowly. So even putting a speed bump, I don't think is going to solve it. So this meeting, I don't think we'll resolve the issue, but what I hope is somebody will come up with options, and we're going to look at the options and then speak to people and then decide what's the best way to go,
Morris, this is not the first time we're having this conversation, but I will tell you that what I have suggested on numerous occasions, and I hope the engineering department will start listening, is that I would like a very clear indication at Bailey saying, if you have no business here, don't come here. In other words, what I would say is access to North Loop, Fleet, Regal, Nice. That's it. Robinson, okay? But people are going Robinson, know that they're going Robinson. But really access to only those streets, or no access to Côte Saint-Luc Road. Because the people that are coming down your street, they're lost. There's no reason to come down North Loop.
I don't know if they're lost. I mean, they would go once and they wouldn't come back, but it's the same traffic every day.
Well, then they're going to Merton. Then they're going to Merton School.
But just putting up a sign is useless. People don't look at signs unless it says no turn. I mean, they're not gonna, you put up a sign, people just ignore it. I mean, it's human nature. So as I said, we're not going to resolve it here. What I would like is to have a meeting with some alternatives and consult the people affected and maybe others, and then find out what's the best solution, because I haven't seen anything for a year and a half, 2 years.
Well, you did see two 2 bollards. We tried to put one at Regal, and it got knocked out. And then we,
Well, the trucks went over
Nice.
it
Yeah.
and people didn't even slow down. They just went to
Yeah.
the left
well, they
instead of
did
the
put up
right.
2 bollards in the past 6 months. We put up
Yeah.
bollards.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it was a good gesture, but I found it was useless.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly am very aware of your complaints, but I have to tell you that overall, the general feeling is that the traffic should not go down Bailey, should not use Glencrest as a shortcut, because if we turn on the tap, it's going to be a flood, you know, of traffic. So
But what is the action plan going forward? Like, you know, like I put on a project manager hat, which I used to do, and we always come up with an action plan with a timeline, and then we look at the tasks. So
Okay.
what is the action plan?
I would say that, you know, we had multiple meetings here. Do you remember these maps that we had?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So we can try again to see if there's a way of blocking the traffic from going down Robinson. I don't know, but then the people who are on Robinson have to get to Merton, right? So the buses have to get to Merton. So you always had buses going down North Loop to Merton. Now, one of the options was to block the no access to Robinson, to make Robinson, so that when they get there, it's really a dead end. Anyway,
Can I just say something?
yes, go ahead.
I definitely agree. When you started making Bailey a one-way from North Loop on, it certainly helped Glencrest. What would be the harm of making Bailey a one-way all the way? From Silverson all the way to Robinson? Then nobody's gonna come in.
Oh, but then how would so people wouldn't be able to go to North Loop or Regal
No.
through Bailey?
Yeah, but I don't mind going around Merton to go to
Oh,
my
you
house.
don't?
The plan,
Okay, that would be interesting. Wow,
Only the
I
people,
that's
thought,
the first time I hear that. Okay,
no, I think we suggested that in the
okay,
project.
just a second. We're gonna do it in order. So I'm gonna do Claudia, then Daniel, and then I think Michael wants to say something. So Claudia, Daniel, and Michael, go ahead.
So I think we had that as an option as well, but people were upset that they would have to go up Cavendish and turn on Merton. And people didn't want to take the extra, I'd say 5 seconds to do that. But if you do that, you've kind of seclude so that only the residents of the neighborhood are coming in. So, you know, it's a question of, do we want to be kind to our neighbors and go the extra step to take an extra few seconds to go get into our home, but have peace and quiet? It's always an option. But I think people were not liking that idea of really closing down all of Bailey. But that was one of the options at the time.
Right, but Claudia, there's one issue there which is very critical, which is the school buses that come from Cavendish North, because they're picking up kids all over Côte Saint-Luc, and they're coming down Cavendish, and they don't want to go to Merton for the reason that they have to park on Robinson. That's a whole parking setup, the drop off, and they take North Loop, and they take Regal, and they go down Robinson. So we can't block those school buses, right? That's the biggest, one of the major issues. They need to be able to get in so that they can park on Robinson in order to drop off the kids. They do not want to park on Merton. It's a little bit complicated. And if they would come in through Merton, they would be on the wrong side of the street. Come in through North Loop, they're on the right side of the street. They are dropping off the kids right in front of the school door. Daniel, go ahead.
Well, I would say that I live at the corner of Merton and Robinson, where I've lived for 32 years now. And just a couple, first of all, I agree with the comments about Cavendish. There's no question but that there's been a lot more speeding on Cavendish in recent years than has been the case in the past. And I think a camera would be a great idea. As for the problem with Bailey, if you made Bailey one way so that you couldn't go down North Loop, our only way of getting to Merton would not be our garage being on Robinson. Our only way of getting there would not be to turn right on Merton because there's no left turn onto Robinson. We would have to go down to Côte St. Luc Road in order to get back around and up Robinson into our garage,
Oh,
and that no left turn has been there for a zillion years since as long as we've been here.
so it's the left turn that's forcing you to take North Loop.
Well, yeah, otherwise we conveniently go to Merton and then turn left onto Robinson, although
Okay,
I suspect that one of the reasons that that no left turn was there was to prevent people from turning right onto Merton and going down to all the way down to Côte St. Luc Road. Now, you can't do that, although I have to tell you that I've seen many people violating that no left-hand turn rule.
right. So it's okay. So there's a domino there. If you would remove that no left turn, you personally would not take North Loop anymore. The reason you take North Loop is because you can't turn left into your own driveway. That makes
Correct.
sense. Yeah. You know what? I haven't thought about that. I don't think Morris even thought about that. See, there's everything is connected in this situation. So our traffic engineers obviously have to do more homework. Does anybody else want to comment on this? Carol, go ahead, Carol. You're muted, Carol. Hi, Carol.
Three things. One, I'm one of these people who are so used to turning when I come down Cavendish into Côte St. Luc and I'm heading down Bailey, I realized, oh, that's right. I can't turn down my street. Well, I've got no choice at that moment but to go down North Loop. But I am training myself and I'm not doing it so much anymore. Would it be possible to make Bailey all one way and have a sign that say except for school buses so that they can make that turn down Robinson? And my third question would be, it's regarding the very large flower pots that are on Cavendish. They're beautiful, I love them, but where they're right next to a crossing, it's really hard if you're making a left turn to see the traffic coming, especially if they're coming fast. Yeah, so I mean, if you could maybe just even remove one of the two that are sitting there in the summertime, that would be easier for people making left-hand turns.
They're not, if I'm counselor, they're not going to be there anymore. You're not the first one to complain about it. My own son-in-law came from California. The first thing he told me, he says, I can't turn left, I can't see the traffic. You've got to move those.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And I did ask,
Okay.
it was the end of the season and they didn't move them fast enough. But the one way except for the school buses, I mean, that's another option. Getting a lot of good ideas here. Lawrence, do you want to say anything on this subject? I think
I had a comment on another subject, which is the traffic lights at Rosedale and Côte St. Luc Road when you're ready.
right. Well, that is also a subject that I think needs to be addressed. So, Carol, are you done? Your hand.
Okay. Oh,
I think the mayor wants to say something, and then we do want to talk about the lights at Rosedale. I agree with you 100%. So let the mayor speak on first, and then we'll go to the lights on Rosedale.
Yeah, you can call me Mitch. Okay.
Mitch.
She only knows me since 1990. Okay. Well, the one thing I find from this, and I tell you, it's a fantastic thing, and I think Spiro and who's our traffic engineer, should, when they're going to make a change, there is nobody who knows their streets better than the residents. If you have a meeting like this, before you make a right or a straight or a one-way, like the things that I'm hearing here, I'm not the expert, but they all make a lot of sense. And these are the people that drive the streets and realize if you make this change, it's going to affect me that way. And if you make that change, it's going to happen to this thing. So I think this was very useful. I haven't taken all the exact notes, but you should take all these notes. And if we're going to make any changes to these configurations, I think you call all these people back with Spiro there, let him hear it firsthand, and then he'll have a better understanding from the people who use the streets of what is going to be the consequence of doing A, B, or C. And I think it's very helpful. So anyway, that's what I was picking up, just listening to it. I was thinking,
Okay.
oh, wow, you know.
No, I agree with that, because I think traffic committee sometimes sits in their own bubble, but they are experts because we get the police, we have the public security, we have counselors who are focused on traffic, engineers, and so on. but it's the residents who know their streets the best.
Exactly.
So,
You know,
Lawrence wants to talk about the lights, and then I want to talk about the lights too, because it's a major frustration. Yes, Lawrence, go ahead.
Okay, I know that these lights are governed by the city of Montreal. Really, there are too many cars backing up. The lights are very, very long now. But what I realized is that when the lights are red, they're red in all directions.
Yes.
Now, this is for pedestrians, obviously, so the pedestrians can cross, but there are very, very few pedestrians. It's
Zero.
amazing, you know. That's right.
Yeah.
So there's as many as 9 cars backed up on Rosedale, because that's where I live on Rosedale. So all of the intersections, Côte Saint Luc Road from both sides, really a lot of cars creating a lot of traffic fumes and the weight. And so it's a mistake from the start, changing them the way they did, which is about a year ago. So I know that somehow Montreal has to be convinced that this is terrible for anyone near the place, very bad for our health to have all these cars idling and a waste of time.
So I can show you my emails going back to probably the first or second week that this was installed. I totally objected to it. I thought it was ridiculous. The pedestrian light is exceedingly long and there's nobody crossing the street in all directions. And all the traffic is backed up, not only on Rosedale, but also on Côte Saint Luc going in both directions. I wrote, I asked, they went, they looked at it. That's the way they want to do it. No way. It has to be changed. It's not good for the environment, and the traffic is blocked for no reason, for absolutely no reason. There's no pedestrian crossing, and you can have a pedestrian shared crossing with a green light. We have it everywhere else. There's no reason that particular corner where there's hardly any pedestrians ever crossing has to be protected. So yeah, I agree. And I had this on Côte Saint Luc Ideas last night, or 2 nights ago on Côte Saint Luc Ideas. You're not the only one that thinks this way, and it has to be changed. Well, hopefully the new mayor and council of Côte-des-Neiges and DG will be more open-minded and will be more cooperative when it comes to intermunicipal, issues, because we have a lot of how should I put it, borders that are common, right? Côte Saint Luc manages the lights at the McDonald's. Côte Saint Luc manages the lights at Vizina, right? At the Vizina and Décarie. And Montreal manages the lights, excuse me, and then Montreal. So, yeah.
Oh, there is one other aspect. The green for Rosedale is very short. You can only make through 3 cars on the green light. The 4th goes through on the yellow. And I've seen as many as 9 cars actually get through. And I tried it myself. You can, but you got to go very fast and keep very much behind the bumper, which means that it's unsafe. There's going to be an accident because nobody wants to get caught by this light because it's very long. So speeding cars, tailgating each other is a great way to get through that intersection, but unsafe.
So Lawrence, I would appreciate, you're very articulate, and I've heard from you before. So if you could send me an email, I have one from another lady as well. And hopefully I do get reelected and we can start working on this, because it's a nuisance. I agree. Thank
All right.
you. So, what else should we talk about, or have we exhausted all the subjects? I'm getting verklempt because it's my last Zoom, my last pre-election Zoom, and it's been really interesting and fun, and we've had good discussions. So I hope that I'll be able to continue this going forward. Does anybody else?
Before you close, I can't, if this is your last Zoom, I can't not say the truth about Dita, which is the hardest working city councilor that I've ever known. And that goes for not only Côte Saint Luc, but I'm going to sit on the agglomeration of Montreal. And she's leading in so many ways beyond her district, whether it's on transit or the environment, or saving Meadowbrook, or smart cities, big projects that have moved the city forward. And we need her. We need her as much as you need a mayor, you need Dita Berkman. So she better be elected.
So thank you, Mitch. And I hope that we can convince our electorate to go out to vote on November 7th. I'm trying my best. You're trying your best. Elaine is doing an amazing job too. So please talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, and go out and vote. And let's renew our relationship and going forward. I think that there's a lot of challenges that this district is going to face. We haven't even touched big subjects. You want me to just tease you a little bit and tell you what they are? Hydro-Quebec wants to upgrade their whole system, so that we're have to negotiate with them for the next little while as to how that's going to happen, because they want to increase the power on the grid, and it's going to affect all the wires and all the high tension wires. Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center wants to redevelop their shopping center. And obviously, you know, we would appreciate that if we could get a train station out of it. And that's been one of the things that we've been pushing very hard. So that's another major issue. You remember the big kerfuffle that happened when the McDonald's wanted to get established. Everyone was up in arms. Oh, McDonald's, we're going to ruin our quality of life. So now, obviously, if the Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center wants to redevelop, District 3 is going to have to come to terms with it and understand how this is going to move forward. And we hope it'll be a transit-oriented project, basically by having a train station and by pushing all this new transit, we would have a development that would suit the area and would also benefit the Côte Saint-Lucers. And there's other issues as well that are coming up. So Claudia.
The corridor there goes right to the Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center. The 27-kilometer bike path goes right to the Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center. So that's also exciting. So if you have a train station, you're connecting with pedestrians to the bike path and to Park Haven through a walkway, because you'd have a train station so you can get to it from Park Haven, which is the other side of our city, but people on this side of the city could walk to. If they wanted to go, let's say, to Park Haven Pool, you could just walk there from this where you live, easy. If there was a train station, the bike path, and that over pedestrian walkway. So lots of changes, hopefully, that are good.
Right. So these are all, you know, major issues that are coming up. Claudia, you wanted to say something?
Yes, hi, Dita. I just wanted to raise the point that I don't know if it's been made to your attention or not, but I've actually called Public Works and on a few occasions have been complaining about the bright stadium lights in the Singerman Park and how they're shining in my children's bedrooms and kitchen. So, you know, I don't know who came up with this great idea to put these 40, 50 feet tall bright white lights in the back of people's backyards.
Is it new? Those lights are new?
Well, they've been there for a while. This is, you're the counselor for this.
No. What I mean is we always had lights there.
And they were never on. And so for some reason this summer, they've been putting them on and they come on even before the sunset. They've been on and they go off at originally it was 11, then they changed it to 10 o'clock at night. And
you find them too bright?
Oh, it's moonlight in my house.
Okay, because it's probably the volleyball and mostly the volleyball, but I think they could.
No, volleyball is not near people's, you know, it's our houses are in the backyards of these bright lights.
So, yeah, so I think they installed them actually for the volleyball or the wiffle ball, but definitely we can turn them down. It's actually the first time I hear this complaint. So I'm glad you brought it to my attention because I saw them. I used to complain when they were on till 11 o'clock and midnight because it's a waste of energy.
It is a waste.
Okay,
there's nobody playing. There's no wiffle ball on the evening. Wiffle ball is Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, let's look at those lights. I'm glad you brought it to my attention, but I think that's something definitely we could do something about. There's no need to have those lights.
Yeah, I just wish that before these things go up and we invest taxpayers' dollars, that we do the proper study and analysis. Well, and these bright lights so close to people's backyards, the investment that was put into these lights We don't have a soccer field there. The wiffle ball
No.
field is nowhere near the people's homes.
No,
These
it's the
lights-
volleyball, I think they put
No,
it up.
the volleyball, no, it's from corner to corner in all four corners of the big park on green grass with no soccer nets, nothing. So I have no idea why we did this.
No, but are these new lights or are they new lights or new light bulbs?
No, the lights have been there for a while, but
That's what I'm thinking.
somebody decided
Maybe we
to turn
changed
them
the LED.
on.
Maybe we changed to LED and that made the difference, Tina. I mean, you have to look into this and find out why is the so bright now. First
It
of all,
was
the time-
always bright lights. Sorry, but they were installed that way. It's just they were never put on at night. And now last summer, this summer, they decided to keep them on every day.
Okay,
Um,
so then it's just a question of timing.
Well, they shouldn't be on. I mean, unless we're doing big football games and soccer, I have no idea why we invested these lights in people's backyards. It doesn't make sense. So I really, if you are reelected, if both of you are reelecting, I really appreciate that somebody look into this and understand why we put these bright lights that are shining in people's houses.
But it sounds like they wouldn't need to be on unless something's happening.
Exactly. That's exactly it. If there's a need and there's a game or there's a special request, you turn them on. Otherwise, what's the point? So anyways, thank you for listening.
I think you're very correct in what you're saying. I appreciate that, and I'm definitely going to bring it up because it's no point in wasting energy and, and maybe there's a security issue also because the basketball players are there till very late at night sometimes. So that's another.
Yeah, but there are lights in the park area. These
Yeah.
are lights that were
No, I know,
installed.
these are
Yeah,
lights, yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So Mickey's asked me to mention something, but Mark, can you allow me to share screen, please?
Yeah, you can share now.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I want to just show you, the mayor was talking about the Corridor Vert. So the Corridor Vert is basically a corridor which is aligned with the transmission corridor. It goes from the Sargay station in Saint Laurent all the way to the Aqueduct station in La Salle, and at the bottom of the screen. And the Corridor Vert is this kind of vision that the Hydro-Quebec has with the city of Montreal, that they're going to put a kind of greenway, a path, green nature path under the hydro lines. Now, some could argue that it's not the ideal place to go biking, but nonetheless, this is happening. It's 27 kilometers. And it's going right through the heart of Côte Saint-Luc. And you see the Côte Saint-Luc shopping center right there. And this is what the mayor is talking about when he's saying it's a 27-kilometer bike path that's going to be intersecting with the train line, which is the Saint Jerome. And that's what Mickey wanted me to talk about. Mickey mentioned it on the chat. It's, the Saint Jerome line, which basically takes you from Saint Jerome all the way to, what did Mickey say? How did you describe it, Mickey? You said, the EXO train is Montreal's best kept secret. Tell everyone about it. It takes 12 minutes to go from Montreal West Station to Lucien Lallier Station downtown. And now it's going to take, maybe once we have the train station at the Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center, it'll take 15 minutes to go from the Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center to downtown, because this train passes by Côte Saint-Luc. It's the train that's on Bailey, that the commuter train that goes on Bailey, goes down towards Montreal West, swoops around and goes downtown. So these are all things that are sort of coming together, merging together now. And we are looking forward to making these all a reality in the new Côte Saint-Luc. Someone else had a comment, I think, on that subject. Carol said, I agree about the lights too. Yes, I know you live on Glencrest, so I'm sure you do agree. Idling cars and more public security at Robinson Park. Idling cars is a big issue for me. I think that we should be ticketing idling cars. I don't see them being ticketed. That's basically it. I have a few more comments about the lights, and I think that we've covered all the subjects. So unless anyone has anything else, it's 10 to 9. It's been a long but interesting meeting. You can all open your mics, you can all say hi, bye, and we can have a last, a last.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Dita. You're the best. Always love
Okay,
you.
thank you. Good luck. Hi. We hope
Bye.
that this is going to be successful and that we're going to see you on the other side of November 7th. So thank you very much.
All right.
Bye, bye, good
Cool.
luck. We
Bye.
hope
Tell
for good
everybody to go
news.
vote.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, there's my
Bye-bye.
campaign manager there, the official agent. Go vote, go vote, go vote.
She's the best.
All right, take care.
And
Thanks,
my
guys.
campaign manager is behind the screen. There you go, Jacob. So, okay, thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Mark. Have to thank Mark. He's been managing all these Zooms for the past 5 weeks. We started from nothing and we ended up with quite a repertoire of Zooms. So it's good. And
Welcome.
to watch them, they can watch them.